Welcome everybody to day 21 of the All About How podcast. That is an old meme right there. I'm starting to feel like an old man. I'm out of the loop, I think, sometimes when it comes to this modern stuff. But I'm going to tell you what, I loved it back in the day, and we're just going to use it. It's day 21. What can I say? So really hope you're all having a very highly successful day. Hope you are leaving the world a better place today. I am actually pre-recording this podcast because as of right now when you're listening to this, I am out fly fishing. Trout season just opened up. We're going to go hit Penns Creek. Some of you will know what that is up in Pennsylvania. Really awesome fly fishing stream. It'll be my first time fishing there, so hope it goes well. Actually, believe it or not, the other day was my first time actually catching trout on a fly rod. Had it for 2 years, just didn't have a lot of success at it, wasn't really good at it. Still not great at it, but was actually able to catch my first 2 trout on a fly rod the other day. So hopefully I'm expanding upon that success while you're listening to this podcast. I'm sure you'll hear about it either way come tomorrow on Sunday. But what I want to do today is I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of what you have to look forward to next week as far as this podcast is concerned, because we have a lot of really awesome episodes. I talked about a couple days ago that we are actually taking the time now to basically plan out our episodes at least a week in advance. Allows us to put a little bit more time into the production, put a little bit more time into the research and to the quality of information, as well as the marketing as well, to make sure that we're going to disperse and distribute this podcast best and appropriately. So that's what we did. We talked a little bit about that plan on day 19, so go ahead and check that out if you are interested. And what I want to do is I want to tell you basically what we're going to be talking about every single day next week, so you have an idea of, okay, these are the days I definitely want to tune in for. Obviously, I'd appreciate it if you were here for all the days, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that type of stuff. It really does help us over here on growingau.com. Helps me a lot, and I appreciate it. But I really do also want to let you know what it is you have to look forward to. So let's go ahead, let's roll the intro, and then I'll jump into this and we will talk about next week's awesome podcasts. Let's get into it.
It's all about how in 2020 we're going to leave the world a better place than we found it.
All right, so let's just kick things off strong with tomorrow's podcast. And tomorrow's podcast on Sunday is going to be talking about the power of the one moment. Now, you may remember we've been talking a lot about the whole Death Star moment idea. It's something I'm running with. I'm liking it right now. We're going to see if we can't run with it and get a lot out of that information. But what we're going to be talking about on Sunday is the power of the one moment, basically talking about key moments throughout our lives that define and shape the ideas of everything else that we have throughout our existence. And these are the moments that really stick with us and do a lot to kind of formulate and shape the human beings that we have become. Not to say that we're not autonomous individuals, but it's these moments that have a lot of effect on us, both for the positive and the negative. We are going to be focusing a little bit more on the positive power of the one moments in that podcast specifically, but you get the idea what we're talking about. We're talking about key moments throughout our lives that have really shaped us as human beings and formulate our decision-making process and our ideas and ideologies and things of that nature. Really excited about that podcast. This is an awesome story I want to share with you about a time that I was performing in front of like 1,000 people, and a really incredible experience that happened to me, and I wrote a paper on it called The Silhouette, and so I really want to share that with you on Sunday. So definitely come back tomorrow if you're interested in the power of the one moment, how to harness those moments to really improve and elevate our existence. Okay, we're going to move on here to Monday the 13th. We're actually having a really awesome podcast that day. We're talking about the TED method of podcasting. Obviously, a lot of people are familiar with the TED Foundation, TED Talks, TEDx Talks, things of that nature. Well, we're going to take a look at basically the proper way to give a TED Talk and see if we cannot apply that to podcast and see if we can't basically make what we would call the TED method of podcasting, as the title would suggest. I'm really excited for that one because there's a lot that TED, the speakers of TED and the founders of TED, they have a lot to say about the proper way to talk to an audience, the proper way to set up and formulate your point. We're going to be talking about that and see if we can't start applying that a little bit more directly to our podcast. So definitely come back if you want to hear more about the TED method of podcasting on Monday, April 13th. All right, guys, so then we're going to move just right ahead. We're just going to keep moving along here. On Tuesday, April 14th, how to start freelancing. This is definitely something I think will be beneficial to all of you college students out there, all of you people who are interested in making a little bit more money on the side. We're going to be talking about what I did to start freelancing and what I'm currently doing to run a freelancing kind of on the side hustle. So definitely going to be talking about that, talking about what I did, and we're going to be looking at also a little bit of possibly even what other people have done to be highly successful and finding ways that we can replicate their success to a higher degree if possible. So Tuesday, April 14th, how to set up freelancing. All right, moving right along here. Wednesday, April 15th. Yeah, okay. This one I'm actually really excited for. This one is a podcast that we're posting called The Power of You. And what that podcast is going to be all about is we talked about earlier on in this podcast, like 1, 2, 3, one of those very early episodes, where we talked about iteration to help find the right market and things of that nature. Well, what we're going to be talking about in this particular episode is how we all have that one X factor, which is us, and how we have to consider the fact that no one's doing it quite like us because nobody else is us, and how we can leverage ourselves to help possibly promote and further progress what it is that we're doing, and how that we do have this unattainable X factor that other people will never have, and that is the power of us, and how sometimes it's just the way you say things that people really attach to. So it's going to be talking about how to kind of find that X factor. So that's going to be Wednesday, April 15th. Let's look at Thursday, April 16th. It's something I have right here. It's called the National Trumpet Competition Podcast. Now, we're not actually going to be talking a lot about music, but we're going to be talking about, if you don't know this, I mentioned it a day ago. I talked about that I was 5th place in the National Trumpet Competition in my early middle school years. And I want to talk about how preparing for that process, how preparing for a national competition, what that's like, what it does to work ethic, and how those experiences have helped me formulate into a harder worker thereon after. So I have a lot to say about that, and we're just going to be talking about basically how we can take situations that we're in, kind of like we talked about yesterday, but we're going to be talking about more directly how to take a situation that is going to teach you a lot of really valuable skills and how to extract those skills from that specific situation to apply to your grander life. So definitely excited for that one, the NTC podcast coming Thursday, April 16th. Okay, jump ahead here to Friday, April 17th. We're going to, the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown, reading it right now, love it. We're going to be reviewing that on Friday, April 17th. It will be a full review of that book. Definitely excited for that one, as you guys should be. This book's really good. It definitely holds up with those two other books that we have looked at so far, that being Ray Dalio's Principles and Yvon Chouinard's Let My People Go Surfing, The Education of a Reluctant Businessman. Really, really, both those are great books. They're both on the previous days of the podcast. You can go check them out. Now, here's why I wanted to bring this to you, because I want to talk a little bit about what's happening on Saturday. So Saturday, April 18th, which is a week from now, is going to be something that I have marked on my calendar here called the Funcast. What I want to do on Saturdays is I want to take a time just to talk about things that are highly, really, really interesting to me. These are basically going to be talking about things that are like cool in the world, like talking about maybe, remote species of animals, talking about things that are going on in space. This is stuff that's like really kind of super interesting information that's mind-blowing and that I want to take time to share on the podcast. I thought about possibly formulating another podcast based around this type of information and these types of facts, but I figured, you know what? Let's just go ahead and throw it in here on day 18 or on like a Saturday the 18th. And let's just see if every Saturday, let's just post a fun cast, something kind of fun for the weekend. Don't got to think too hard, just something for us to sit back, relax, but still get a lot of value from on Saturday. So we're going to be trying the fun cast for a couple weeks here, seeing how that works out, seeing what the response is, and then taking it forward from there. Exactly what Saturday's fun cast is going to be about, I'm going to keep that a secret. You got to come back and take a look on Saturday so you know exactly what it is that episode's about, but I'm just going to let you know that it's going to be pretty interesting. We're definitely going to make it kind of like a sound experience almost. I'm really excited for that. A little bit different than me just talking to you. I want to make it like this story, right? We're going to take you along for a journey. We're going to travel to other parts of the globe together, talk about awesome things, and then come back and really kind of reflect on it a little bit. So the fun casts on Saturday, they're really going to be kind of cool. And there might be a name coming for that very shortly here. So just stay tuned for that. I have some ideas, but the fun casts on Saturday, just talking about awesome random stuff, basically, whatever we want to talk about. And definitely going to open up as we get some more followers here, and I'll open it up to everyone who's listening right now. If there's something that you think we need to talk about during a Funcast on Saturday, something that you find like completely mind-blowing and amazing, definitely send us a message. Plenty of ways you can contact us. podcast@growingau.com is our email. Reach out to us on all of our social media pages. Do what you got to do. Get in touch with us. Let us know, because I'm excited for those Funcasts on Saturday. The other thing that I need to talk about coming next week is I'm really thinking about just going ahead and adding the video format to these podcasts. I just think that we're to the point now where that might be something that's going to help us kind of up it in the right direction. So I'm really thinking about adding a video component to these podcasts. I was hesitant to do that. I still might not. I have to think about a few things when it comes to that, but I think it'll be overall a really effective way to just kind of take the podcast to the next level, at least as far as the YouTube iteration is concerned. Obviously, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, or wherever it is you're listening to us, what's up? But obviously, there's not going to be a video on there. But if you are listening on YouTube, or if a video is something you think that would you would like to basically be incorporated into your listening experience, then I want to make that available. So definitely be ready for that next week. We're definitely going to try it. Maybe not all of them, maybe just a few, but we are going to be throwing it in a little bit next week, and then possibly dispersing it to all the podcasts from that point forward. So stay tuned for that for sure. All right, guys, that is pretty much all I have to tell you about today. As I said, I'm out fly fishing right now, so I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm probably having a good time. Also probably freezing because it's supposed to be cold tomorrow, but whatever. It's all good. I will see everybody tomorrow on day 22 of the All About How podcast. Again, we are talking about the power of the one moment and how to leverage those moments to be more highly successful. So if that is interesting to you, definitely tune back in tomorrow on April 12th for that. Hope everyone enjoyed this podcast. I am going to give you a quick fact of the day before you go, add that little bit of nugget of information to your life. So let's see what we're talking about today. Oh, this is a cool one. I really like this fact. All right, so photons. All right, there's a whole bunch of photons in the sun, right? I mean, there's photons all over the place, but like there's photons in the sun. And so if a photon is formed at the center of the sun, it can take that photon up to 100,000 years to leave the sun, but only 8 minutes for that photon to get to Earth. So think about that. It takes 100,000 years for the photon to get from the core of the sun to its surface, but then only 8 minutes from it to get to the surface to Earth. That to me is incredible. It really is mind-blowing to me that we think about how long ago that actually was. I'm actually looking up here right now what happened 100,000 years ago to see what was happening on Earth during that time. Okay, so 100,000 years ago to now. After the first modern humans, Cro-Magnon emerged in Africa about 100,000 to 120,000 years ago. They migrated northward, spreading rapidly over Europe and Asia. If we had been alive then, we would have seen that we look more like the Cro-Magnons than the Neanderthals before them. So if we think about that, and that's from, by the way, that is from, let me look here, www.bgs.ac.uk.com, British Geological Survey, that's their website, so citing the source there. But think about it, the photons that are coming out of the sun, the light particles that are coming out of the sun and hitting us now, we're forming possibly in the sun at the same time that Cro-Magnon were still watching the Earth. That's before the Great Pyramids. That's before Rome. That's before the Greeks. That's before everything of that nature. That's before early Mesopotamia. All of that was not even existent yet, not even a thought in the grand scheme of Earth. And before all that, when Cro-Magnons were just starting to disperse across what is now habitated world, that's the same particles that are hitting us from the sun right now were forming then and still within the sun. That to me is one awesome fact. So if you found that to be cool, definitely leave a like and let us know what you think about that incredible piece of information. Hope you all have a great day. This has been John Knott from growingau.com. We will catch you tomorrow.